Welcome into the Safeguard Podcast. I am Outnumbered.
Matt, can we please change the subject?
At Safeguard, we want to be versatile. We want to help in every way that we can and not just in one certain area or one certain product. We want to be holistic planners for you. A good agent or advisor should provide you good information regardless of whether they sell you something.
It is so frustrating that people are penalized for making a mistake when the government doesn't do anything to educate them.
Honestly, shouldn't it just be about helping people? Listen to this. 33% of men and 43% of women have no life insurance at all. That doesn't even count the people that don't have enough.
Insurance has the power to change people's lives.
You have got to be sure that you educate yourself before you make major decisions. Honestly, I couldn't imagine not being a Safeguard at this point.
Hey guys, welcome back in. We're excited. We're finally back. It's been, 4 months or something.
Yeah.
We were a little busy, kind of got out of the routine. But we're excited to get back. This is episode 9. We made it 8 episodes and took the break off. But anyway, hey, we're excited and sorry if y'all, the 4 people that have listened, faithfully, mainly our family. We're glad to be back, and sorry if y'all have been looking, but we're back. And so this is Outnumbered the Podcast. My name is Matt.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're the McKays, and we're just excited to be back. I'm sure you've been dying to know what we've been doing lately. And why such a long absence? Well, we had a little thing called AEP.
Yeah, been busy, guys. Been busy.
Medicare, annual election period, October 15th to December 7th. It got crazy. We had a lot of business coming in, and it was a good time. And we had a lot of things that we committed to. And I think it really helped our business personally. So, again, we apologize for having to step out, but it was just, it was a lot. And we definitely want to keep this going. It was just, we got out of the habit for a few weeks, and anyway.
It got hard to
blinked,
get back in, yeah.
And now 4 months later, had some sickness and holidays and whatever. But since we've been gone, we've actually added 2 state licenses to our business. We now can service 19 states without having to hesitate. If you're anywhere in this part of the U.S., chances are we're licensed, and we're happy to help you. We have licenses all the way out to Kansas, down to Texas and Florida now, a little bit in the Northeast and whatever. But honestly, if you need assistance and it makes sense, we're absolutely happy to help you in whatever state.
And if you're curious where we have our license, you can go to our website, www.safeguardky.com. Under the About Us section, there is a spot that tells you exactly where we're licensed and who is licensed in what states.
Yeah. And so I carry most of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much of the 19 states. They're mine, but they have a few licenses as well.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I have one.
Right. But hey, we're excited to help you, seriously. If there is anything we can do to help, we do basically a wide range of things, and we're happy to help people and provide a holistic perspective to help you out as best we can. And that's the goal, is we want to make sure that, first of all, that we educate you, but also that we, that we're able to be of assistance to you. And so right now it's March Madness. So I'm geeking out watching all these games, and it's been a really good tournament and everything, and buzzer beaters and upsets and all that, especially if you're a big fan of Power 5 double-digit seats, whatever. But anyway, it's been wild and crazy. For our Safeguard Scoop, we had a couple of them, but we definitely want to be sure you know about some of the Medicare changes. There have been a lot of legislation, both locally here in our region as well as nationally.
Absolutely right.
And more than just what we're going to talk about. So be sure you're paying attention may not be into politics. That's not what it's about. It's more about being aware and being aware of how it affects you. Trust me, we're not huge on politics either. We don't sit around and discuss it every night. But it doesn't matter. And so be aware of what's going on in your area. Stephanie, why don't you tell us about specifically about Medicare Part B and some of the legislation and decisions they've been making there?
Okay. So right now is the first time in history that CMS is considering reducing the Part B premium. The reason for that is this year, for 2022, was the largest increase in history ever. Never has it been more than it was this year. And essentially the reason for that is because there was a new drug for Alzheimer's that was FDA approved. It's a great thing for people who are in that situation who might be able to utilize that treatment, slow down the progression of that disease, which can be horrible for the person that has it and their families. So it's a great thing, but it's been highly controversial on how it's going to be covered. So essentially Medicare was putting back funds for this very pricey medication on the belief that they were going to have to cover it. So they increased everybody's premiums based off of that fact. And it was, as I stated, it was the largest increase in history. Well, the company, the manufacturer of this medication, this Biogen, they reduced the cost of the medication by 50% in the end of last year, the beginning of this year, 2022. And so for the first time ever, the person that runs the Health and Human Services, which is over CMS, has actually required the actuaries to reevaluate the cost of Medicare Part B. It's never happened in history before, and they are considering reducing those premiums that they've imposed on people because they're falsely elevated at this moment. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen. This is currently, still being debated. It's been an ongoing issue for about 6 months or so. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet. I saw that they're expecting some kind of a determination and possibly in April. So I'm watching to see what happens, and we'll let you know the update if we find something out one way or the other. But I kind of expect that they'll just leave it where it is and then not increase it for 2023. That's my personal opinion. I have no facts or anything backing that up. That's just what I think could happen.
Right. Yeah, and that's one thing with Part B. It can be very frustrating because you don't know year to year what the increase may be. And so it can really be hard to budget for seniors. And so
$21 jump per person per month is a lot when you're on a fixed income especially. So
maybe relief is coming, maybe not. But we all know also that Medicare is not quite funded, so maybe the extra money will help build up some funds. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on it and make sure that you're updated. But again, pay attention to what's going on in not only in your area but nationally, because there really is a lot of legislation lately that's been going on.
There's a lot
related to insurance, finance. They're talking about possibly taxing insurance appointments and proceeds and stuff and all kinds of things. So really keep an eye out and make sure that you know what things mean. And if you have an agent or an advisor that you value, make sure that the legislation that you believe in also is congruent with helping them be successful, because a lot of times we get painted as the bad guys or whatever, but 95% of us are out here trying to do a good job, and the 5% paint us like we're awful people. But we really care, and we want to be here for you and help you out.
We're here to protect you from that 5% that's trying to take advantage of you.
Right, exactly. And so
That's what our mission is with this podcast and as a business, is just to make a difference and help people be a positive light in the insurance world, and help you get through sometimes difficult decisions. The other safeguard scoop, felt like there was a lot going on. Obviously, everybody knows about the Ukraine-Russia thing and the market going crazy and all that.
Yeah.
More and more signs of possible recession. So if you're concerned about it, if you're worried about, I've got investments, I've got assets, what if they go down? What if I lose all my money? Whatever. There are ways that you can mitigate these risks and take all or part of your money and put it somewhere where it's not going to lose directly in the market. And so it's something to really pay attention to. If you have March of 2020 happen to your portfolio and you're about to retire, or 2008 or 2001, or 1929 or whatever, it can absolutely devastate your standing in your preparation for your retirement. If you're relying on those assets to take care of you. And so paying attention, it's forecasted that maybe at next year or so, 2023, more and more signs point towards a recession.
Yeah, a lot of economic indicators that usually alert to recession are showing definite signs that that's the trend that we're heading to. So, if you're concerned about it, it's better to be prepared in advance than after the fact when you've lost, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Or more, depending on exactly how you're positioned.
Yeah.
And so just pay attention to these things. They're not just something to sneeze at. It's not something to say, I hope I'm good, or I think I'm fine. If you don't know or you're not sure, then get in and talk to somebody. We're happy to talk to you, but if you have someone else, great. But let people know what's going on, and people that you can trust, of course.
Yeah.
But let people know what's going on. Maybe they can provide some extra thoughts besides just what you come up with on your own.
Yeah.
So we just want to provide a couple scoops for you.
Absolutely.
But kind of getting into what we want to talk about today. Obviously, with us taking some time off, we could have chosen anything, but something that came up to both of us, I think, is talking about group benefits and how and why you should review them with a licensed insurance agent.
Yes.
It's extremely important. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have group benefits, or they have some kind of benefits that they have access to. Really, in general, it's a good point to just check everything out. But especially if you have group benefits, like whether it's through the state, whether it's through a factory, whether it's through a group of 25 people or 25,000 people, it's good to review your benefits. Obviously, some groups are going to have incredible benefits, other ones not so much. But little details, sometimes you can find things that aren't great coverage, or maybe they're excess that you don't really need and you just click the button one time. And so we just encourage you. We've had plenty of situations where people we know, clients, whoever, either got screwed or were being screwed or were just throwing away extra money when they could have done a little better.
Yeah. It seems like here lately that has come up a lot for us with clients coming in looking for help. And it's because of a group situation that they're going through, and we're trying to help them resolve it, figure out how we can fix the problem that their group coverage has caused them. So as he's saying, it's not something to just, you look at it one time when you first sign up and you don't know what your benefits are and you say, okay, it looks good, and you never look at it again. That is about the worst thing you can do for yourself, because a year or two down the road, you're not even going to remember what your benefits are anymore. And it can be devastating when something comes up and you need coverage and you find out, oh, sorry, you didn't elect that coverage. You declined it. Or, even if you think you took the coverage and you find out it doesn't pay how you thought it was going to, or any number of situations that can come up that you could just simply overlook by not knowing what your coverage is.
Yeah, so to catch your attention a little bit, we definitely have some testimony stories, whatever you want to call it. I have one just off the top of my head. I helped somebody in early February or so. They came to me. They're from Indiana. They have a group benefit. It's him and a wife and a couple of kids, little young children. And anyway, he's like, man, I'm pretty much free, but my wife and kids, they cost a lot, and it's over $1,000 a month. And these people were about 30. I think he's 30 or 31, and she's the same age. And we actually went to Western with them and everything, and this was a connection through WKU. But anyway, we start talking and we look into everything and weigh out the pros and cons. Long story short, their dental and vision was not really great coverage, and we could replace it for about the same amount of money and triple, 2.5 times the coverage. So that
big
was
difference.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. And then also on their health insurance, this is obviously the biggest savings. Save them $700 a month. What would you do with $700 a month? You pay all this health insurance. You're paying $1,000, $2,000 a month sometimes, and you come in and you have an option of saving $700 a month. That's $8,400 a year that they now have in their pocket. They can do something else with. They can pay on their mortgage. They can put back in savings. They can invest in college funds or whatever they want to do. Start an IRA and have a little bit left over because of the limits. Whatever they want to do.
It's a lot of money, guys. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and so that's one example. The other one I have is a lady that I'm working on. And I guess if she watches this podcast, she's going to find out what the plan is for her, because I haven't quite told her yet. But she's in Florida, and she has a daughter. And the daughter, she's free. Daughter costs money. And basically, we may be able to get her on Medicaid, or we may be able to get her on some type of Obamacare, ACA type thing in the state of Florida for a few $100s and save $400 to $600 probably a month, and free that up, and then possibly help. We're going to look at the life insurance that they have. I think the rate isn't as competitive. Also, if you think about group insurance, especially life insurance, disability, which I think one of your stories definitely feeds in the disability conversation, that usually it's going to go it's only going to be while you're working there. And then once you're fired, once you're let go after FMLA runs out, whatever, you lose it. Or you might have like a 30-day window to convert it, or it goes away, or something. Very rarely do you just have the opportunity to keep the same premium and keep it forever, and you don't have to do anything. So if you rely on your life insurance from your group, your health insurance, your disability, critical illness, whatever, most likely it's going away when you quit. So if that's all you've got, you might want to look at something else because of things that happened to one of Stephanie's coworkers, for example, and some other people. So you were telling me when we were kind of talking about prepping for this episode, tell me about somebody at your former place of work.
Yeah, so this is before I became an insurance agent. Okay, this is, it would have been around 2010, 2011, probably. And a coworker of mine fell ill at work. And she actually passed out. And I had to call an ambulance to come and get her. And she ended up leaving in the ambulance and going to the hospital. And she had a lot of medical tests run. And she was out of work for quite a while. And she was unable to work, okay? So she was put on what's called FMLA. A lot of people have probably heard of that. You should have a handbook from your employer that details exactly what FMLA is. but she she ended up running out of FMLA, okay? And what ended up happening is the company eliminated her position. So she ended up without a job. She ended up losing her short-term disability, her long-term disability, which was the only income she had. It was less than her normal paycheck because disability typically only pays a percentage of your income, but that was all that she had at the time. So she lost that income, was unable to work because of this disability that she was working through to try to get a solution for with the doctors and trying to get treatment and all of that. She lost her health insurance. She lost her life insurance. She lost everything. Everything. Completely unexpected. She had just went into work one day, started feeling weird, passed out, and was never able to return. And to this day, she still was never able to go back to work. So just put yourself in that position. Okay, I know everybody thinks that's not happened to me. I'm gonna be fine. There's nothing to worry about there. But just put yourself in that position.
My work wouldn't do that to me.
Yeah.
Is sometimes
a
misconception
Just think about you go to work one day, expecting it to be just like every day, and suddenly you're never able to work again. And your job, eventually, no matter how kind your employer is, eventually they're going to have to stop paying the benefits and put somebody else in that position if you're not able to fill it. Even if they try to help you out and give you extra time and that sort of thing, they're not required by law to keep you on after a certain point. And they're not required by law to give you the same position that you previously had if they have to fill that position. Eventually, if you're not able to come back at all, they're going to have to cut their losses and move on. And I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality of business. So that moment, I would have been 20 or 21 years old about. And that was the moment that it dawned on me that I need my own coverage. I don't need to rely on an employer to take care of things for me. I need to rely on myself because I didn't know about insurance then. That was before I became an insurance agent.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how any of that worked until that situation happened to this coworker. And it really dawned on me like, hey, I need to protect myself because this happened. I witnessed this happen to somebody that I know. This person is still on my Facebook friends list. Like, they might listen to this. Hey, I love you. But it really taught me a lesson, and I hope that the lessons that I've learned throughout my life maybe can help somebody else not experience this situation for themselves or their family, because this happens. It happens more than you think. A 20-year-old today has, I think I'd have to look before you quote me here, but I'm pretty sure it's like, the percentage is well over 25% chance of being disabled by the time they're 65. And that's a high chance of being disabled.
Yeah.
So it does happen, and it can happen to you. So it's just something to think about.
It's no respecter of persons either. Like, sure, there's some family history sometimes that affects disability, but quite often it's random as well.
Yeah.
You may, and it may have to do with the work that you do or something or whatever. But
sometimes it just randomly happens. Car wreck. Or sometimes you really do get some random...
An accident at work.
Yeah, or illness or something, cancer, whatever that happens, and it just completely disrupts life. If you're not prepared for it, or if your benefits aren't prepared for it, it can create a huge headache.
And I'll tell you, just to kind of wrap a bow on the conversation today, basically anything in a benefits package is something that you at least want to understand what it is, what it says, and how it works.
Yes.
And is it a benefit to you? A lot of times we pay $300, $400, $500 a pay period or more, I guess, depending on exactly the details. But that's a lot of money. I mean, if you're doing $300 a paycheck, okay, every 2 weeks. Okay, do that math. 300 times 26 is what you're paying a year for those benefits. That's a lot of money. And benefits are great, but you want to make sure that you are paying attention to what you're actually paying out. And I would say a few things. Number one, life insurance. If you just have group life insurance, it's going away or it's going up when you quit 96% of the time. That's a made-up number, but it's extremely close to that number.
And it's not enough coverage. Most of the time,
That's
it's
true.
not enough
That's true.
coverage.
Okay, 2 times your salary. Okay, so that's 2 years worth of income.
Yeah.
You die. What happens in year 3 to your spouse and your kids? Okay, it's not. You need to think about these things. $75,000 is not enough life insurance. If you owe a mortgage of $250,000, that means you need at least that kind of coverage to take care of the mortgage, not to mention the income you lose. What about the Social Security blackout period, where if you have, let's say you have a 19-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son, and you all are in your 40s, you have 15 years that because you have grown children, you can now not draw Social Security because of them. You cannot draw Social Security off of your spouse until you turn 60.
Let's do an
15
episode
years.
where we dive deeper into exactly what that means. We'll do another episode that explains that more in depth.
But definitely, there are holes that you really need to think about. Other thing, disability. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, I've got short and long-term disability. I'm good. That's like the number one thing. Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, great. That's good. I'm happy. Short-term disability, you're probably not going to get that on the individual market. So good for you. I'm glad you have it. Long-term disability. It may cover you. It may not. You might have some things that get cut off and you lose, like the story with her coworker. Yeah. Also, even if they let you keep it, like I've seen some people that have, I think one company was the Hartford or whatever. They've got a disability that was through work. But guess what though? The company paid part of the premium. And so guess what? That premium or that payment that you get paid back out is taxable. So yeah, you get 60% of your income, but it's taxed. So you're really only getting less than 50% of your income, probably about 40% of your current income. So imagine going from making $5,000 a month as a household to making $2,000 a month as a household and trying to live on that.
Yeah.
So what you can do is, if you have that situation, add more disability coverage outside of work. That gives you the flexibility of, what if my work coverage falls out? Also, it gives you the full amount of coverage that you would really need to be able to take care of your family. And so other times with other benefits, within critical illness, cancer, or whatever, all those, look at how they benefit and see what else is out there, because sometimes it makes sense to just go outside of work.
Mm-hmm. The thing about having your own policies, whether it's life insurance, whether it's long-term care, whether it's disability, whatever it may be, the thing about owning your own policy is no one can take that from you.
Exactly.
If you leave your employer and you get a new job and you're going somewhere else, you own that life insurance. That's going with you. That previous employer cannot touch it, cannot take that from you. Your new employer cannot touch that money or take that from you. That is yours. There's a lot to be said for taking possession of that and it's in your control. You have the ability to use it for what you want it for, and you don't have the kind of your employers don't have any responsibility over that money, okay? There's a lot of power in that for you as the individual.
Absolutely. If you leave it under the power of your company, or it's just like, relying on Social Security. It may or may not be there. They could choose to cut it at any time.
Yeah.
Someone could go bankrupt. They could cut the original policy, and every descending policy is gone.
Even the way that, like, say, I'll use life insurance. The way that life insurance in a group policy works is that everybody in there, they take your age and you're basically averaging to everybody. So if you have a lot of older employees and a lot of young employees, they just average out kind of in the middle, okay? But say that they switch to a different company one year and suddenly your rating system is different, your life insurance could double in cost of what you're used to paying. Just like that, out of nowhere, suddenly you're paying a whole lot more than you previously were for the same amount of coverage, or maybe even for less coverage. It just depends on the policy. That wouldn't happen if you own the policy, depending upon what type of policy you take. As I said, you're in control of that. Your employer's decisions don't affect your benefits.
Absolutely. And so the whole point of it is, let's take a look at it. Have someone that knows what they're doing look at your benefits. A licensed insurance agent or financial advisor. Sometimes a licensed insurance agent will be better than a financial advisor in this case, because licensed insurance agents can be dealing with those kinds of policies every single day.
A lot of financial advisors would refer that type of situation to an insurance agent, because that is our wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, we're benefit specialists. That's when we dealt with health insurance all the time, or excuse me, group insurance, health insurance, life insurance, disability, all the time. So we know exactly what we're looking at when we see it, and we can help point you in the right direction, or say, okay, great, looks like everything's fine. But you really want to take a look at that, because it's money you're already spending that you're used to spending, that you could put towards something else or just save it. And so please take today's lesson and let's apply it. Talk to your people. If you don't have somebody, talk to us. I want to leave you with some wise words. We heard this today at a local networking meeting. The pain of staying the same, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of making the change, you'll finally make the change. Don't sit there and have trouble and not ask someone to help you out, or look for some other solution besides just rolling with whatever you have. And so we just want to encourage you. We're here for you. Be sure you like, subscribe, retweet, hashtag, #, whatever, at Safeguard Insurance, at Safeguard INS, at Safeguard KY on different platforms. Like the podcast, all that kind of stuff. But we're here for you. We're happy to be back, and hopefully next week we'll be back for episode 10. God bless y'all. Take care, and have a good rest of your week.
Bye for now.
See ya.